What's going on, guys? Chuck here with another awesome Blu-ray purchase. And this one's kind of a weird one. I only say that because it's Troma. That's all I need to say. Of course, talking about the new 4K limited edition release, Vinegar Syndrome, of Troma's Tromeo and Juliet. I know you're probably as shocked as me that this film is getting this kind of treatment. But then again, it's Vinegar Syndrome, so maybe not. So, Tromeo and Juliet. If you're not familiar, it's pretty much just as it sounds. It's Troma's version of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, which is just crazy to think in and of itself. As I mentioned before, I am a fan of Romeo and Juliet, the actual play, and I'm a fan of Troma. I haven't seen there's a lot of Troma stuff I haven't seen, but I get Troma. Okay, a lot of people don't. It's an acquired taste for sure, but I get it and I appreciate it. I'd always heard of Tromeo and Juliet. To me, it always felt like I've heard a lot of people talk about even though Toxic Avenger is like the flagship. And maybe even you throw in Sergeant Kabuki Man and they're with him. But for some reason, I always feel like I hear Tromeo and Juliet kind of put in a higher plane discussion when it came to Troma films. I don't know why, but it always piqued my interest, mainly, again, because I'm a fan of Romeo and Juliet. I like to see what they're doing with it. I mean, I know it's obviously not going to be, that film. or that nature, but I'm curious to see what Troma would do. And also, not gonna lie, I was also aware that apparently it was a very sleazy film, and boom, you got my attention right away. So, but I never got a chance to see it. Never, I think I tried to watch it once streaming years ago, but I didn't get a chance to finish it. I only got a few minutes into it, and something came out I couldn't finish it, so I never saw it. And then Vinegar Syndrome announced they were putting out this, again, limited edition 4K 4K release. I can't believe 4K release of Tromeo and Juliet, and first I almost didn't get it. I was like, well, that's a bit much. But once I did a little more digging, and it kind of won me over. Plus, there is a plethora of special features on here. I mean, my gosh, so many, new and old. Well, mostly old, but still a lot of stuff on here. And I thought, what the heck? This is my chance to see it. Why not go all out? So I got it. It arrived, and I loved it. Okay, I'm not going to wax poetic or anything on Tromeo and Juliet. It's a strange film. Totally Troma. Directed by Lloyd Kaufman. What I find interesting, and one of the reasons probably why it has the reputation it does, is because it's written, by James Gunn. Of course, we know James Gunn now is, writer director of the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. Of course, he's recently did the Superman film, and Peacemaker. He's running DC Studios, whatever we're calling it now. So, he getting a start here with Troma, and still, I love it too, but he's not afraid of his roots. He's not ashamed of it. He's proud of his roots, as he makes reference to it. I mean, he put Lloyd Kaufman in Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, cameo in one of his films. Much like Joe Dante, how much he revered Roger Corman in a sense. Never forget where he came from, but it has that aspect to it, and so. I don't know how to describe Tromeo and Juliet if you've never seen it. It's an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet with a Troma twist. This is like 1996. You're dealing with, you're on the verge of, I guess, that grunge. They're kind of pull off, punk grunge aesthetic they're trying to go for here, I think. With a lot more weird twists. Troma twists, definitely a lot more nudity, a lot more sex, gore, uh, discussing things overall. Some taboos that I don't know if you can mention or not on here. Let's just say it rhymes with nest, and we'll leave it at that. But still, it's the weird thing about this film is that there are certain parts of it where it really shows a lot of heart, and it's kind of sweet, and I like it. And then it just flips you over, and it's like, that's just batshit crazy. What are we doing? But I don't know. It's and again, I said the perfect tone for me for Troma. It's not too out there, but it's obviously it's not. Well, no Troma films ever been too serious, but it's a nice middle ground. And again, I enjoy the leads. I think they've got good chemistry. I think they're fun. You've got a great bad guy, and was it Capulet, Juliet Capulet, her father, who's just really sleazy and swarmy. The main characters. Obviously Tromeo and his, I forget what they're called here, but the Mercutio and Benvolio, I believe, equivalents of this film. I wish I remember the name. I don't go digging. They're fun, especially the Mercutio take. He's very fun and very engaging to watch. But like I said, there's just the scenes when you have with Romeo and Juliet, when they're having their weird balcony equivalent scene is sweet. And I don't know, it just takes the great Romeo and Juliet and turns it on its head. But it's a lot of fun. I can't say more than that. I hesitate to try and describe this film because I can't. Other than it's a twist on Romeo and Juliet, and let's leave it at that. But I had a lot of fun and enjoyed it. But what's really cool is this. Have this upside down. Have this upside down. There we go. This great 4K limited edition release, and it's a slip box release, which is awesome. So here's the spine. Take a look at that. The front, and you got the weird pig face. There's a whole meat packing thing. It's crazy, and the different characters. Here we have the back and the side. You have a great booklet of essays, about 2 or 3 about the film, which I actually read this whole book when I got it, and it amazes me. It's like, I love this. It's kind of like a Cliff Notes version, which you always see the Cliff Notes version of Romeo and Juliet for school. But the essays in here are really interesting, especially they really, I don't know, they put a lot of gravitas on this film. They really hype it up. I won't say hype it up, but they talk it up really well. I guess it's hype up, same thing. But they really go a deep dive and dissecting and talking about. I don't know. It's a fascinating read, all these essays, and really making this film seem like a huge piece of modern art in a lot of ways. And again, I'm not trying to knock it anyways, but I mean, it's a Troma. But that's what I say. That I feel this. A lot of people consider this one of their higher end films, and I guess for good reason. I don't know if I'd wax nostalgic as much as they do in here, but it definitely has this place, and it's slightly different from a typical Troma film, I guess. But it's a very good book. It's got about 3 essays. You got some pictures in here. I'm not sure what I can show you. Well, there's a few things here, because I don't know how graphic. But yeah, so here's the back of that with a little monster. That's all I'm going to say. You've got your slip. And then the back of the crazy cast of all the crazy things that happen in this film. We've got weird dreams. Just, oh my God, it's crazy. It's insane, but it makes it fun. And here is the original artwork. This does have a reverse cover, and it's basically just the slip box. and you have a 4K and a Blu-ray. 4K is just that, and it has the only on here is, I believe, it was an audio commentary in the 4K. Yeah, like an old archival, maybe a newer one. As far as the image wise, it looks really good. I mean, it's Troma. There are some points when the 4K actually betrays the cheap effects, specifically with James Gunn's brother. I can't remember his name, but he plays a character, and he gets a head wound, and it's gushing blood. But the 4K really shows the makeup appliance. You can tell where the appliance ends and his real skin begins, and other things like that. That is, the 4K is too good. Which is, you never want to clean up your bad movie sometimes, because it may actually make it worse. But outside of that, really, again, any kind of cheap, I don't say cheap, but low budget film with low budget effects, 4K is not going to do it any favors. So there's that. But at the same time, that does kind of give it its Troma charm, if you will. It's got a good, sound, nothing too overwhelming. It's, pretty cut and dry. And it's got some good music. I don't know. The main title that plays over the menu, I'm not sure what it's called. I hear it a lot, but it's got a really good riff that is kind of, I had to hear it a couple times in the menu because I was doing things while the menu was playing. So it ran a lot. And of course, throughout the film, it's, pretty good. And it's some good songs here. I gotta admit, it's great. Plus, you've got Lemmy. Lemmy is your narrator. Yes, Motorhead's Lemmy. I forgot about that. And what? He actually has a great voice for this. You wouldn't think that, but Lemmy, doing the Shakespearean speech in the very beginning. I mean, that's really the most dialogue he has. Throughout the film, he's basically, it's like, act 2, act 3, whatever, as it goes on in this accent. But the opening, when he sets the stage, it's, his voice is really good for the Shakespeare-like dialogue. So that was a surprise. But the real big kicker or selling point with this 4K is all the special features on here. Now, I'm not going to read them all off, because there are a lot. When you go to the menu and you've got, like, the new special features, like, I think 3 or 4 new special features. Then you have, like, archival special features. And then it says even more special features. This is everything going back from the 10th anniversary DVD release, and maybe even some Laserdisc stuff. Just whatever. I mean, just every piece of archival material, interview, whatever that Troma had is on here. So kudos to them. They put everything on here. Now, granted, not everything is going to be high end. A lot of it is the typical Troma, tongue-in-cheek interviews that they're known for doing, comedy stuff. And there are some, where Lloyd Kaufman is like, this is, I think, for the 10th anniversary DVD release, and they were doing interviews with some of the cast, and really he's holding the camcorder. I mean, there's really cheap run of the mill. I could have recorded these interviews when I had my camcorder back in the day. That's basically what he's doing, while someone else filming him film them. It's really weird. So all that stuff's on here, along with other weird things. But again, here's a big. I'll probably just put it out and screenshot it and put it up here for you to see, because there's a lot. And like I said, I don't really want to waste your time rambling over these. You can just screenshot it, pause it, go through it all. But there are a lot. And also in here, nope. Okay, I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if there was a poster or not. There is not. So yeah, this is a pretty decent release from Vinegar Syndrome for Tromeo and Juliet. I still can't believe I'm saying that. But then again, like I said, it is Vinegar Syndrome. I kind of expect that. So I enjoy it. I have had a lot of fun with it. Again, Troma, not everyone's cup of tea, an acquired taste for sure. But if you enjoy Tromeo and Juliet, if you enjoy Troma, I'd recommend picking this up. Now, you may want to wait for like a standard edition, or just get a standard edition That's fine too. But the disc, everything, it's a fun. It's worth having again if you're a fan. If you like crazy stuff, then definitely check this out. Okay, so that is it for this one. If you enjoyed it, click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Let me know if you enjoyed Tromeo and Juliet, or Troma in general. What's your favorite Troma film? I'm curious. Like I said, I have very few. I don't have much knowledge of Troma, except for my kid. I remember, the first thing I heard of obviously was Toxic Avenger as a kid, and the first three. I haven't seen the fourth one. I know there's new ones came out. I've never seen that. I did see Sergeant Kabuki Man at the drive-in a few years back. Fun movie. And actually, that same night I saw Toxic Avenger and realized, damn, this is actually a fun movie. I had not seen it so long, I forgot how good it really was, the original. And a few, here and there, I'm kind of got a box that I got for Troma films, like some of our classic sex comedies, or which I love checking out. So I'm hoping to look into those and see how they go. Plus, they've distributed so many things as well that aren't necessarily theirs. But I digress. Or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.